Fun fact time about your girl, Coach Rash. So a couple of people have requested to know my training history, my life of fitness and health. So I'm currently 32 years old. I've been lifting weights since, there's actually a photo of me, I think I was about 3 years old lifting an axle of a go-kart. So I think I was born lifting things, but I've been actively involved in sports since I was young. I've been active the whole way through. I can remember I played all sports throughout school competitively as well, represented the schools in things like basketball, was captain of those teams, cricket, I love that one, volleyball. So I've played kind of all your sports through school, and was quite serious with sport. And then at about 12, 13 years old, I kind of jumped into a gym. I trained at the PCYC in Cabramatta. That was my stomping ground as a kid. I played basketball from about 7 years old until 19 competitively. And at about 12, I jumped into the gym there. And, played around, mucked around, kind of went back into basketball. And at about 13, 14, I was back in the gym and I picked up a bar, and I remember I chucked on some weight. I think it was like 80 kilos. Actually, it was 80 kilos. And I stood it up, and a big Islander guy looked at me and goes, "You're strong. You want to be in a powerlifting team?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool." And he was a social worker for like the kids in the area, and he took me under his wing. So at 14 years old, I started kind of the journey of lifting, and at 16, I competed in powerlifting. So that was my first at national level and state level sport. Was pretty strong. I was the youngest female in Australia at that time competing. That was a very long time ago, guys. Girls didn't lift weights like they do now. Thanks to the world of sport and CrossFit, I think really did that for women, pushed out lifting and all those fun avenues. But I was looked at as a freak. I was weird. So I've been lifting from the good old days, real good old days. So I was into powerlifting. The next age category after me, I think, was like a 25-year-old lady. So I was really out of my depth. It was great. So I've been lifting since then. I continued competing in powerlifting on till I was about 18, 19. And then that transitioned into Strongman as well. So I competed at state level for Strongman. That was fun. I had some great mentors for that. That was probably more enjoyable for me than powerlifting. It did, have a little bit more of a fitness component, which I did enjoy, which led me into me at about 18 years old as a coach. So I started personal training and coaching at 17. At 18 years old, I, being in a Globo gym, decided to do bodybuilding. That was kind of an inevitable journey, working at Fitness First in Parramatta. That was another old stomping ground. So I trained quite hard. I had a cool mentor that, tried to help me out. We tried to guinea pig all the nutritional things we could do back then. And there was no access to like just Googling and finding out the answers for the macros of everything on like something like MyFitnessPal. So you knew the macros for like broccoli, rice, chicken, flaxseed oil, and your basics, sweet potato maybe. So I did that. I competed two seasons, so 2 comps. I won overall and came second in both. I was apparently not lean enough, but too big for the category. It was fun. I was only like 59 kilos, guys. I was tiny. Did that natural. So yes, I've kept off I don't even take supplements, guys. I'm quite lazy on that front. But yeah, so all my sports were all natural. I kind of obviously, as I got older, filtered out of the sports just because the potential, especially in something like powerlifting, depending what federation you were in, ended up going into, the unnatural divisions where you're not like, as a natural athlete, especially as a female, you don't really have, you're not in the mix. I revisited powerlifting again multiple times over the years, and I think about 3 or 4 years ago I also competed again. It was just, I love it. And again, making states and nationals is just something that was kind of in the blood. And then CrossFit was my main base fitness component or sport. In 2011, I met CrossFit halfway through the year. I think they were actually in the open, and I walked into RevX, and they were doing the open. I'm like, "What's this?" And they're like, my boss now, my mate Rob goes, "Oh, it's the CrossFit Open, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Okay, cool." He's like, "These are the workouts. We got a girl doing them," and I'm like, cool. I didn't register. I just jumped into the workouts. He goes, oh, you're pretty good. I was like, I don't know. I don't know what these exercises are. It's pretty cool. It's fun. And 6 months later, qualified for the CrossFit regionals. And then 3 years in a row, qualified for regionals. So CrossFit became like bread and butter. I loved it. I loved learning the skills. We were in a generation where no one had a handstand push-up. No one had a muscle up. It wasn't just walk in and every athlete had them. People were getting their first of everything. There was no butterfly. Kipping was just starting. Things like, ring dips with the kipping and that kind of, that motion didn't exist. And then we were kind of the frontier of all of that happening. So we were at a cool time of the CrossFit world. So that was fun. And then from there, kind of paused on CrossFit, retired, so to speak, and ended up back into powerlifting, and now just training for life, training to enjoy life. But I've had a very athletic and competitive background, literally since I was competing at sport at about 7 years old. And then it's been competitive all the way up until, say, even last year I did actually this year I also did the CrossFit Open and the quarterfinals. Just jumped in randomly. But I really just train for life now. But at the end of the day, look, I've had great foundations, a great background, a great passion for human movement and sport and variety. And one thing I pride myself on is understanding all sports and trying to learn them all from different angles and by practically being involved in them. I think it's a great component for athletes, and the variance you see in athletes now shifting from sports is not something new. It's something that athletes love to do, love to push the boundaries. But I think you just see it now. It's in your face because of Instagram and social media, etc. So that's my background, guys. Heaps of sports, heaps of fun. It's probably heaps of things I've missed out in there. But if you have any questions, reach out. I'd love to hear your stories, or, if you've done multiple sports, what your favorite is. If you ask me what my favorite is, I'm kind of biased to Strongman CrossFit. So CrossFit without the fitness component, so much of it. I love my gymnastics. That's why I say CrossFit. And I love, the fun lifting. Olympic lifting wasn't my favorite, although I love the power clean. And I loved powerlifting because I love the deadlift. But I did love just being able to throw my body around and do some funky shit. So I think the journey moving forward will be just continually training and enjoying training and understanding what modality my body is asking for at that time and sticking to it, biasing it when I need to, jumping into fun local comps of things just as I need to, and fueling the body so there's success and helping others do the same. But that's my journey, guys. If you have any questions, please reach out. Would love to answer them.